Question number 3, Paul Foster-Bell.
Tēnā koe e te mana whakawā. Sir, my question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, what recent reports has he received highlighting the resilience of the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, Standard and Poor's recently affirmed New Zealand's foreign currency long-term sovereign credit rating at AA with a stable outlook. They pointed out New Zealand's monetary and fiscal flexibility, a resilient economy, public policy stability and a sound financial sector. They acknowledged New Zealand's high external debt and the possibility that foreign investors might become less willing to fund banks at reasonable interest rates. However, they believe New Zealand's banks will retain ready access to external markets. New Zealand's fiscal framework was rated as credible and strong according to all 3 major credit rating agencies.
Very good.
Supplementary question, Paul Foster-Bell.
Supplementary to the Minister, what was Standard & Poor's assessment of the outlook for the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, S&P say the rating outlook remains stable, reflecting its expectation that New Zealand's fiscal performance will continue to improve. Their assessment is that growth will slow to the low 2% in 2015-16, down from an estimated 3% in the year to 30 June 2015. Residential and other construction activity is likely to remain a key driver of growth, and lower currency and falling interest rates should help to support economic growth. S&P says New Zealand benefits from a high income and resilient economy, drawing on decades of structural reforms. Overall, this is a reasonably positive assessment of the economy.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
When the last 3 ANZ trucker meter reports have been titled Potholes, Flat Tyre and Warning Dip Ahead, and the last 3 ANZ business confidence surveys have been titled Below the Belt, Flagging and Slippery Slope, isn't it time for him to stop patronising New Zealanders and start getting real about the state of the economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, I read past the first line of all those reports, which is a time-consuming activity approximating work. That's work. That's what work is. And I don't share quite as negative an attitude as the ANZ do, but New Zealanders don't need told that things are a bit difficult. If you're dairy farming this week, it's cold and wet and the price is low, and you don't need politicians pontificating about how tough it is.
Supplementary question, Paul Foster-Bell.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Supplementary to the Minister, what reports has he received showing continuing moderate wage and employment growth in the New Zealand economy?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, while the outlook for the economy has softened, Treasury's latest monthly economic indicators report say that data released in August points to a moderation in growth over the June quarter, and growth for the calendar year to 2015 is expected to be around 2%. That's below the budget forecast that Treasury made. Total employment in the year to June 30th, though, was up by 3%, and total weekly earnings increasing by 5.3%. So up until the 30th of June, both jobs have been growing and weekly earnings have grown significantly ahead of inflation.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
If he did read past the title of the latest ANZ Business Confidence Survey, did he see this graph here, which the Prime Minister described as being positive, or was he reading it upside down?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, yes, I did see the graph, and I'm surprised and somewhat impressed that the member did. Because it was a bit further down the page, that's right. But Mr Speaker, having seen the graph, the government has come to the conclusion that it's not the right thing to panic and say go on about a crisis. The right thing to do is to support our businesses and our farms to export, invest and employ more people.
Order. Supplementary question, Paul Foster-Bell.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. Sir, my further supplementary asks, how does New Zealand's macroeconomic resilience compare internationally?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, there's a number of indicators which together indicate a resilient economy. Those being a broadly balanced government budget, net debt less than 40%, economic growth greater than 1.5%, and scope to further cut interest rates should the economic situation worsen. Now, these aren't high economic hurdles, but New Zealand meets all those criteria, and in fact there are only 4 other developed or OECD countries that meet the criteria of having a broadly balanced government budget, net debt less than 40%, economic growth greater than 1.5%, and scope to cut interest rates. And those other countries are Australia, Norway, Iceland and South Korea. So by those measures, this economy is as well placed as any to handle global turbulence.
Question number 4, the Honourable Annette King.
Thank you. My question